for your ear to see and love.
Please don't touch that dial, cause
when you're tuned to flow and Eddie, it will show your mind will start to grow. Your day begins to flow, not Ed, it's not his show. The Flow and Eddie show is here.
Yes, we're here, and now let's click on the phone and see if our pal Frank is. Hello? Hello? Hello?
I don't think
Hello? Hello, technology at work. Hello? 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 Hi, Frank. Wow, is this a far-out experience?
I got to tell you, first of all, there's been tornadoes forecast in the New York area, and everything's gone really running amok in the studio today.
What? Are you kidding me? Is
No
this a
kidding.
good joke, or is this for real?
It's a bad joke. It's for real.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
going to be a tornado in New York City?
They are
They actually had a couple
Yeah.
in New Jersey and here in the city as well.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, where can we move to next, right?
So it reminds me of that famous line from that album a long time ago, where can I go?
Where can I go?
Reminds
really?
me, just these kids been calling up going, Hentun, Rentun, Hennen. Doesn't it amaze you, and this is the truth, that I have people come up to me and Howard when we're on tour or we walk through a hotel, and a real diehard Zappa fan from especially the era that we happened to work together would come up and they'll say something like the fissure in the Earth's crust, or
Yeah,
Not even knowing what it means.
That's right. They just got the joke. It took
Yeah.
them 20 years. Oh, yeah, that's what "oh, my papa" means.
Yeah, well, how about, has anybody commented on the Jack in the Box ring job yet?
No, they certainly haven't done that.
Well, when they talk to you about that one, then you know you've really made some progress.
Well, Mr. Zappa, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
And how is your family?
They're really good, and they're all busy. The kids are they're shooting on their sitcom today, and Gail's down there with them.
Yeah, that's great. What's the name of this series?
It's called Normal Life, and it goes on CBS after the first of the year.
Is it basically kind of based on the family rearing that you and Gail have done with these children, or is it not?
No, it's a little bit blander than that, I'm afraid.
Product of someone's imagination.
You have a tremendous family, and I know that not a lot of people get a chance other than Dweez and Moon to know, but you have really some of the most respectful kids, and they are just really a delight, honestly.
Well, I happen to like them very much.
Yeah.
I mean, we get along good.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
nice kids.
it must have something to do with like those peanut butter dinners on Sunday.
Yeah.
That Gail, she is just the most understanding wife. You guys have been married now how long?
111 years.
Better doesn't
Give
feel
or
a
take
day.
a few.
Yeah, 110 maybe.
So when was the last actual tour days for you actually out on the road?
We did 4 months in '88, and that tour ended in, I guess it was June of '88.
Well, one of the big questions we've had over and over, and it kind of fits here, is why did you stop touring, and are there plans for the possibility of any more live shows that we'll be able to
And
see?
don't blame us for the stupid questions.
Okay, well, the answer for why how that tour ended was somewhere in the middle of it, a bunch of guys in the band decided that they hated the bass player and told me that they would never go on stage with him again after this tour.
What?
And so we had all kinds of dates booked throughout the summertime in the South and in the West, and I had to turn them down because there was no way to put another band together between the end of the European tour and the start of the dates in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we totaled up the finances for the tour, it turned out that I had lost $400,000 in 4 months out there. So I'm not wildly enthusiastic about ever signing another musician's paycheck in life right now.
I understand. Why is it always bass players?
Well, I happen to think he was a great bass player, and I liked him, and I didn't like the idea that, I was being handed an ultimatum by a bunch of guys that had just, seemed like they just gotten a wild hair up their ass over this guy.
Yeah.
Now, was that the band that we were kind of messing around with at the rehearsal hall?
Well, plus a 5-piece horn section.
And was that with like Albert and Walt Fowler, the Fowlers?
Yeah.
They were involved.
I would have loved to have seen that.
I was asked to ask you about your collection of live guitar solos. There have been more responses about that album.
Will there be another collection?
Yes, there will. There's enough from the 88 tour that I can probably squeeze out one more guitar album.
Yeah, great. That's
but
great.
I haven't put it together yet, and I doubt whether we'd be seeing something like that before next year.
Speaking of guitar albums, we had Alvin Lee in our studio today.
Okay, let's do it together now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What about, did he bring the watermelons?
No, he didn't.
I wish I would have been there. I would have asked him this question. Alvin, have you changed the strings on your guitar yet?
Ooh, no, we actually gave away a signed, or will tonight, a signed Alvin Lee guitar. A Gibson Epiphone that they made, Chrysalis sprung for.
I was, a fellow asked, and this is really good, it fits in with the era we were working, and he wanted to know if there was actually a character that you based the score, Billy the Mountain, around, or where did that come from?
Well, that's a good question. I can't really pin that down to one character or event, but that's a left field item right there.
Yeah,
he's got some other stupid questions written down here.
He didn't say stupid, he said left field.
That was subjective. I think that's stupid. Look, number 6, is Susie Cream Cheese real? We know she's real.
Well, we know that, but I wanted
There's so many of them, There are a lot of people decided they wanted to be Susie Cream Cheese. There's lists of them in every state. But I would advise you this. If a girl walks up to you today and introduces herself as Susie Cream Cheese, put the clothespin on your nose and run real fast.
What about Baby Snakes? Has that seen the light of day?
Baby Snakes is currently available through Honker Home Video, the complete uncut 2-hour, 40-minute version. It's available as a double cassette, and it should be available in video stores, and if you can't find it there, you can order it by calling 818-PUMPKIN and get it by mail order.
And that would
Uncle Meat, same deal?
Same deal.
Same thing. And I know the video that we are still waiting to receive is the making of 200 Motels. Well, I figured that I'll run by
You can buy one. You don't have to...
What, you didn't get one?
No, I haven't.
I'll immediately, as soon as I'm off the phone, I'll go down and flog my secretary.
If she just holds it, I promise I'll just run by the house.
Why don't we just stay on the phone so we can listen to him flogging the secretary?
Okay, Lisa, up here.
I wanted you to kind of tell, because the audience doesn't know this, but hanging on the wall of your studio is the actual guitar burned by Jimi Hendrix. Is that still a part of your collection?
That's no longer hanging on the wall. I actually had it refurbished, and Adrian Ballou, when he was in the band, used to play on it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had it all put back together again, and I played on it for a few solos, and Adrian used to play it. And then after Adrian left the band, he got a hold of a guitar that looked sort of like it, and actually had one of the roadies squirt it with lighter fluid and burn it out in back of the Poly Pavilion, so he could have his own burnt version guitar.
And you didn't record it?
Yeah, it has been recorded on...
No, I mean the burning of the guitar.
We didn't have enough equipment then. But,
the albums that we were on, I think, was Chunga, 200... the White Album.
Just another band.
Just another album. Are they going to see the light of day as compact discs?
Yes, that is. All 3 of those have been digitally remastered, and as a matter of fact, 2 days ago, I just finished running off the shipping copies for those, and they're being sent to Ryko Disc this week, and they'll be released next year, but I don't know how they're scheduling it, but those are due for next year.
And
hopefully they'll put all 3 of them out together at the same time so that they can do some sort of special promotion on it.
It saves
200 Motels I have no control over because I don't own it.
You still have no ownership involved with that.
No, that's MCA's got that.
And in fact, the compact disc, I've heard a few people who've even kind of made complaints. I know the reason, and maybe this would be a good time to like tell people why you actually went in and redid some of the music on some of the early
parts
and things on some of those early compact discs.
Oh yeah, the two discs in question are We're Only in It for the Money and Reuben and the Jets. In the case of We're Only in It for the Money, the 2-track masters that I got back from MGM were unplayable because the oxide had fallen off of the backing. You could actually see through the tape. And so we had to go in and completely remix and reconstruct from original material that album. And at the time that the way we did it was we took the 8-track masters and we transferred that to a 24-track digital machine. And since that was in the earliest days of a compact disc, and one of the things that people were talking about as an advantage to compact disc was the 95 dB dynamic range and all this kind of stuff. And I said, well, why don't we emphasize the dynamic range by putting on a newly recorded bass and drum set? So we set up the studio with Chad Wackerman, did a special miking thing on his set, and brought in Arthur Barrow, and we replaced the bass and drum tracks on We're Only in It for the Money. Everything else on the album, all the original vocals and the rest of the cheesy instrumentation is still there, but we just replaced the bass and drum.
That was all you anyway, wasn't it, pretty much?
Well, on We're Only in It for the Money, the drummer was Billy Mundy on just about everything. And in some instances, I was the bass player. And on Reuben and the Jets, I was the drummer on 2 of the tracks and the bass player on 2 or 3 of the tracks. And so I decided in the case of Reuben and the Jets to replace those parts, not because the original tapes were damaged, because they were playable, but since I was already set up to do this kind of reconstructive surgery, why not do it to that one and try and make the album sound a little bit more pop?
Yeah.
So that's why it was done. One, I didn't have any choice, and the other one was, let's call it an artistic decision.
Well, what are you working on right now in your basement?
I just finished remastering the El Shankar album,
yes.
Touch Me There, which I hope to have out next year. And I've been putting together a couple of special 25th anniversary projects, because next year is the 25th anniversary, and also on December 21st next year I'll be 50 years old, so that's going to be our big promotional year.
I never trust anybody 50 years old, let me tell you.
Neither do I, especially when I have to shave the guy.
And we got to buy you a watch.
Lose extensions. How are you doing on the National Smokeout Day?
What's that?
That's today, supposedly. Yeah, I know. We figured we'd get that sort of response.
How's the book sold? How is it actually sold?
It's doing pretty well, and it was just released in Australia. I did a satellite interview with Australia yesterday, and they're putting it out in paperback next May in the U.S.
Can I just tell you, I read it, and I really, what I missed and what I really enjoyed, I really enjoyed the little, 5 pages you did on road experiences, and I think that's got to be your next book. As long as there's a lot of disclaimers, and you promise not to write about the 2 stewardesses, or the Winnipeg Rangers.
We can't have that out there.
You remember the girl with the shoe, too?
Oh, yeah. Certainly. And then the grand flourish at the end where the string goes in her mouth.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. That was unbelievable.
It was a writhing sea of flesh.
And Enid Fina Bogason, we saw her.
Really? Was she at the Iceland summit?
She's actually living at the in Winnipeg and married some guy, and she's got a bunch of children, and she looks the same. And Jim Pons, I spoke to him, and he said to say hello to you.
Is he still cutting out pictures out of that magazine called Bottoms?
Yes.
Yeah, but they're male bottoms now.
They're football players now. I think he's there's only a few more questions, but I think if you can just hang on, we got to do a little bit of business here, or do you want to?
Oh, yeah, right. Sure, go ahead.
And as long as you can just stay with us, we've got a few more things to talk about. And this is Flo and Eddie on 92.3 KROC, and it's New York's only classic rock and roll radio, and we're here with Frank Zappa, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Red welts disappear quickly.
Yeah, I know. But the funny thing was, she pulled that shoelace out right at the end.
Right at the...
I'll never forget it as long as
that
I
was
live.
unbelievable. And the two stewardesses, we were just talking about that. That was.
Yeah, how about the flower arrangement? Do you remember the flower arrangement backstage?
You know what? I think was that the one? How about the guy with the pig head? I mean, we could really do a book on just tour experiences.
Massey Hall
One of
with the
these
pig
things.
head.
But just think for a moment about the flower arrangement. One side was like a Madonna surrounded by flowers, and then you flipped it around and it was something else.
Yeah,
Do
it
you
was
remember?
something wholly other. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
geez.
when people write about you and when people talk about you instinctively, the word and
Here we go. We're going to say
it's
the
really
word,
big.
Frank.
It's a really big word, and I just want to hear your response when people refer to you as a genius.
Well, that's a matter of taste.
Uh-huh.
I think that there are probably a lot of people that would take exception to that, but, I don't think it matters whether or not a person is a genius or a dumbbell, so long as whatever they do doesn't interfere with your lifestyle.
Absolutely. Do you feel there are any actual geniuses out there making music in the 80s, 90s?
Depends on which of the award shows you watch and which soda pop company the guy has an endorsement with.
Yeah.
I think that's... In the 80s, the most important thing to determine genius is who you're endorsing.
So anybody that drinks Budweiser is a genius, right?
Well, you don't have to drink it, you just have to sell lots of it. If you sell lots of Budweiser, you're a genius.
Have they ever come to you to do like Plymouth, This Is Not My Dad's Oldsmobile or something like that? Like
No.
with the Ringo Starr thing?
They might soon.
I would be appalled if they did.
Let me ask you, isn't it something to see after all of these years where people have always kind of related your music and zaniness and craziness and everything to drugs and or anything else that got a little wild and wacky, to see how it's kind of changed now and everybody's talking about keeping clean and how everybody now doesn't do them and how it's changed so much from the 60s?
I think that my favorite quote that I've been cycling all over town is this, especially when they talk about LSD. When LSD was invented, it was created as a chemical warfare substance, not a toy. It wasn't to expand your consciousness. It was designed to incapacitate an enemy. So the people who made it put it into the U.S. population to test it. The net result was 20 years later, these people who used it turned into born-again Christians and yuppies. I would say this is an incredibly dangerous drug.
Poison, absolute
Obviously
poison.
it is.
Would you ever think after all these years that your pals Mark and Howard would wind up on an album with your kids, Moon and Dweezil, on that Gumby record? What is happening?
Well, everything is happening, and that's what's good. It's the only thing that gives us hope for the 90s, that the stranglehold of the people who wanted to turn America into a beige place is gradually getting broken, and that people are waking up, that you can have fun in life and you don't have to be guilty about it, and everybody should do a bunch of stuff, and let's have a good life here.
Remember that button? You had the button. Even
New Hope.
We had that New Hope button that said, "Isn't it something you can still have a sense of humor?" And
I had forgotten all about that button. It's time to put that one out there in the street
That's
again.
right.
The
Yeah.
90s really needs it. Now,
what was the quote? I mean, it was something about.
It's possible to still enjoy music and have a sense of humor or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
paraphrasing.
that's one of those kinds of things that you never want to say to a record executive.
No, well, I don't have to worry about that.
Well, we really they've given us like the kind of leeway today, and we've really held you a lot up today, and I hope maybe someday we can do this again, maybe live, because I really there's like a lot of things we could sit and talk about and reminisce about. And
Yeah, did you guys move to New York? Are you doing this permanently or what?
No, we're filling in this week, but we're going to be back in December to do another fill-in week, and one never knows. It's fun here.
Yeah, well, so long as you don't have to live in a rat-infested, cockroach-infested cubicle, with tornadoes whizzing around outside the window. Yeah, it's fun for a week if you're living in a hotel, sure.
Yeah, you're right. Well, Connecticut's nice.
Yeah, well, I always feature that you guys wouldn't mind commuting, but...
yeah, commuting's not bad. I like commuting, and then that way I get 5 days away from home and 2 days at home, and I don't have to eat my wife's food.
Kind of like Nutrisystem, but cheaper.
Listen,
hey, before I go, I want to plug something.
Sure,
I found out
absolutely.
this morning that I'm going to be doing the Crossfire show this afternoon.
Crossfire,
Yeah,
question
so-
and answer, yeah?
Well, it's that argumentative type show on CNN.
Yes,
oh
sir.
yes.
And the topic for today is the National Endowment for the Arts. So if there are any artists listening, I'm the guy that's going to be carrying the ball for your side, and I'm going to be arguing against an assortment of right-wing lunatics on this show. So it could be pretty amusing.
Go get him, killer.
All right.
Frank,
well, thanks for calling, guys.
Thank you,
you,
Frank,
Frank,
for giving us your time, and say hello to Gail, please.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Talk
very
to you
much.
later.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Frank Zappa with Flo and Eddie here on 92.3 KROC, New York's only classic rock and roll radio.